What's up YouTube? In this video we're going to be learning about goose nature. Let's do it. So tip number one is going to be when you're just see them off in the distance and you want to get their attention in, you want to make a lot of noise, a lot of honks, a lot of clucking, like there's a whole big party going around here, like there's a lot of food. Just sound very, very loud just to get their attention. Use your flags, most importantly. You want to get their attention, make a lot of noise. To make them want to come over here, and once you see them start to pivot or start to come closer to you, that's when you want to slow down. And also read the geese, see what they're liking. If they just want you to use your flag, just use a flag, don't call at them. If they want a lot of calling, like a lot of berserk kind of stuff, I guess you can call it. If you want to be called at a lot, you call at them a lot. A really quick tip I would advise you all new hunters and hunters who might not know this is you want to read the geese. That is very, very important. You want to read the geese and how they're reacting. But most importantly, do what the geese do. If you only hear them honk, just honk. It's a give-give kind of situation. You want to read those geese. What I mean by this, you want to mimic what the geese are doing. So if you hear them cluck, you do a cluck back. If you hear them make a lot of noise, you make a lot of noise. If you hear them doing nothing, they're just dead silent, be dead silent. Just read the geese, mimic what they're doing, and I can promise you guys, you'll get a goose out of it. This next tip is when they start to get in the, let's say, halfway there, they're not like pumping the brakes of the lamp, but you can see them, they're coming closer, 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 and you want to sort of want them to fish, and you just want them to finish. So what I would do is sound like a bunch of feeding geese. Do clucks and moans, and throw in an occasional honk, but do not sound like a bunch of geese like they just went berserk. You want to sound like feeding geese. So that would just be this. And this too. You want to sound as authentic as possible to geese feeding in a field. But also, going back to what I said before, you want to read those geese and see what they're doing. So, of course, if you hear them clucking, you cluck back at them. If you hear them honking, honk back at them. Reading the geese. That is the most important thing about goose hunting. Reading the geese and what they want to hear. If you're liking this video, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get back into the shenanigans. And this next tip is going to be about why I'm the finish and when they're close to you. Let's say they're getting close. Not close enough to shoot at, but close enough where you can get them to land. So this is what you want to do. You want to do double clucks, clucks, and moans. Just like feeding calls, but you want, if you see them like, let's say, drifting off to the left or the right, you want to bring them back. Just do clucks and moans, sound like a feeding geese, or if you see them really drifting off, that's when you speed it up and you want them to come back to you. And this will hopefully have them switch back and come where you want them to land or where you just want them to finish so you can get a shot at these things. But this might not always be the case. A double cluck might not work, a moan might not work, you might have to be really sporadic with your calling, or you might just have to honk at them. It all depends on the situation, fellas. So you see geese off in the distance, you wave your flag and you get really sporadic. You see, and they're coming, and they're coming closer, and you're just starting to hear them. They're doing clucks, they're doing honks. That's when you do clucks and honks. You want to mimic what they're doing. They come closer, but they're starting to drift to the left. So this is when you want to start to get back on your call and try to call them back. Let's say you do a moan and some clucking. That doesn't work. That's when you get really sporadic on them, get really loud, and trying to make them drift a little bit back over to you so you can have them finish or just get enough, or just have them come close enough so you can get a shot at these things. Next scenario, let's say you see them off in the distance, you get their attention, you do honks, you get loud, they hear it. You wave your flag, they see it. So you want to sound like a bunch of feeding geese. Just do some moans, some clucks, and an occasional honk into it to make it sound realistic. And let's say they get close enough, that's when you start doing a couple of clucks, still sound like feeding geese, but content. Not like they're about to fly off. You want to sound like content feeding geese. And let's just say all of a sudden, they get all jumpy, they start to break apart and start to circle a little, or they start to pivot away. That's when you get really aggressive with them, when they start to go away. does not matter if it's too aggressive at this point. They are moving away. That's when you want to get more aggressive with them. They might not come back, but it's a better chance than you doing nothing and they just fly away. It's better just to be aggressive with them. It's better to do aggressive calling when they're flying away because you have nothing else to lose. They are moving away. They're not coming back. They're moving away. So you want to get aggressive with them and hopefully they'll come back and finish where you want them so you guys can get a shot at them. This next step is very, very important. And scouting. I cannot tell you guys how important this is. You cannot overlook scouting because if you're not where the geese want to be, then you're not going to really kill geese. I mean, you can flag a few, but if you're not where they want to land, or at least not near where they want to land, you guys are going to have a really hard time. If you're there where the geese want to be, then that's a whole different ball game. You mimic what the geese are doing when you're on the X. For anybody who does not know what the X stands for, where the geese want to land, for example, let's just say you're scouting the night before and you saw a bunch of geese in a field. You want to set up where those geese were in that field from the night before. That is the X. If you can get on the X, you're going to pretty much kill geese because you're exactly where they want to be. You don't have to do some crazy kind of calling. You just got to sit, wait, and sound like feeding geese or geese are content because those geese want to be there. I highly recommend and suggest you do your scouting because scouting will get you geese. I cannot say that enough. It will get you geese if you scout and you're on the X. So to wrap this up and put us all together, you want to be loud and excited and get their attention when they're far, far away. And when they come in closer, you want to sound like feeding geese, sound like content geese, not like they're about to take off. You want to sound like a feeding frenzy. You don't want to really sound like a massive feeding frenzy. You just want to sound like geese feeding and geese that are content. And when they get closer and closer, this is when you really need to read the geese and what they're about to do. Because if they're not being loud, you do not want to be loud. But if they're being loud, you want to be loud. It's just mimicking what they're doing. When they get really, really close, you just want to mimic what they do. So if they start to drift off or fly away, you want to get excited with them. And hopefully they'll come back and that's when you can get on those birds. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to see how the early season goose decoy, video down here. And if you guys want to see my other video on goose calling, video down here. But besides that, I'll see y'all next video. See ya.